What's up, everyone? Welcome back to A Line in the Stars. I'm Jordan, and we are here today with a tutorial for how to modify your AMT 172 Razor Crest from Star Wars The Mandalorian for the green strawberry fruit pack. Now, I have been fortunate to get the entire fruit pack, so I'll be able to show you which parts need to be modified. I'm going to show you a picture of what they look like before, what it looks like during the tape-off process, and then what it looks like after the cut. And then I'm going to do a demonstration here for the VTOL thrusters and how we modify our engine pods for that. Now, the reason I'm doing this tutorial is because I was looking through the instructions for the green strawberry kit, and there is one thing, and a glaring thing, that is missed. And I almost glossed over it. I started to assemble my model going, oh, this is totally fine. And then I start thinking about it. I look inside the model and I'm like, oh, something in here is not right. And we will get to that here in just a moment. But first, basically what the idea for this episode is going to be is very simple. I'm going to show you a demonstration of how I modify my parts. This is in no way this is how you should do it. I recommend you do your modifications to your model in the way that you see fit. For this particular application for the VTOL thrusters, I will really only need my rotary tool with a cut-off saw, some 4mm Tamiya tape, and some safety glasses. For other parts, I've had to use single-bladed cutters. I've had to use various cutting tools, a hobby knife, just various things, sharp-edged metal, files, you name it. I've had to do lots of different things to modify, and in the coming slides, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you all three pictures, the part of the kit that it comes from, the mod that it applies to, and the step in that mod that you will need to cut this for. At the end of the episode, we will also give you a list of items that you need to remove from your AMT kit so that you don't prime them, work on them, or do anything with them if you're planning on doing any part of the fruit pack for green strawberry. So, first up for the demonstration, what we have here are the very bottoms. Well, it's not quite the bottoms. So the way the thrusters are kind of aligned, this looks like this is going to be I guess this would be the starboard side thruster. Yeah, it is. So right in here is where the VTOL thrusters are going to be put in. But I need to cut them out. Now you can see where on both sides they're put in. You can see where they were designed, where they were supposed to be. Now, obviously, with this kit, you're not going to get that level of detail. And the green strawberry, with their very realistic sci-fi mods, trust me when I say that this is going to give it a super hyper-realistic look. Now, to cut this off, however, we need to do some masking and some taping off to protect our model from the heat of the blade and as a guidepost for where we need to go. Okay, so first up, I'm going to go ahead and move my rotary tool out of the way, and we're going to go ahead and start with this side here. I have used this application now a couple times when cutting pieces of for my models before, and using just some tape to mask off your lines where you want to cut is extraordinarily helpful. And also as well, it seems that like when you cut up against it, it seems to just naturally block against the heat from the blade. It's kind of crazy. So where we're going to cut is going to be up against the edge. I'll go ahead and put this piece of tape down here. Where we need to cut is right along here, up to the edge here, and then right where this flares up, we are going to cut up along the edge there. This is going to be removing one of the lugs, and that is totally fine because the VTOL thruster is going to be a much thicker and wider piece, something that everything's going to be able to set in. Same thing for over here. We're going to need to cut all the way up to the edge of this line, across here, and then right up to that point where it's going to flare out. So let's go ahead and tape off as I started to do. And For the tools you'll need, you'll need tweezers. You're going to need safety glasses for sure while you're cutting. And you're going to need some sort of cutting tool. I'm going to be using a rotary tool, a high-speed rotary tool. I'm going to be going on the second level of speed, whatever that is. I don't know what the RPMs is, but it's a high-output rotary tool. It's not a Dremel, but it's pretty good. You'll also need whatever other sanding equipment you're going to need, whether it's going to be a sanding drum or sanding sticks, or any number of sanding materials that you want to use, just to go ahead and clean up the pieces afterwards and get nice straight edges. So, just going to take my tape and go across this way. Then, I'm going to grab one more piece of tape. Use my tweezers for this application here. And I'm going to very carefully run up against the inside here. There we are. Alright, going to make sure that my tape is nice and sealed in. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to the other side, and I will be right back. Alright, so we got both of our pieces taped off. I've gone ahead and clamped off our piece into a just kind of a rudimentary clamp here. I'm going to grab my safety goggles. Friendly reminder, wear these. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get started and turn down the volume just a little bit. And I'm going to be very, very careful. Alright, so what I'm going to do, very simply, start here along the edge. All the way down through. I'm going to do the same thing here. And then for the straight edge, I'm going to get as close to this end as possible. Straight down and in. Come back, and then move forward. Very carefully move over and turn off my saw. I'm going to go ahead and get this out of the clamp. And it should just be as simple as removing, taking, that's what I'm saying, like for whatever reason, the tape just blocks whatever melting might happen and contains it to the inside. And then pull off the outside, pull off your tape, and voila, with a little bit of sanding, we're all ready to go. So, let's go ahead and do the same thing to the other side. Alright, the next side is ready. Let's go ahead and get started. Again, start at the outside. Straight in. Then, go to the outside. There we are. Then, I'm going to start near the outside. Oop. Straight down. Back. And then forward. Very carefully turn it off. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove this from the clamp. Set that off to the side. Get our safety goggles off. Get our area cleaned up. And then, should just be as simple. Didn't quite get all the way through here at the very end. I see. So, let's go ahead and finish up. And I will do it just by holding the piece. Alright, so let's go ahead and get our piece removed, and just as simple as that, and the melted plastic part actually came off with the part that we needed to remove. So we're just going to go ahead and separate that. Get off our safety glasses. Pull our tape. And just like that, our piece melted a little bit of plastic straight out right there. Of course it did. We're going to need to do a little bit of sanding, and of course I will do that off camera. And now both of our pieces are modified for our VTOL thrusters. Alright, so now in the next segment, we're going to go ahead and go through each part that needs to be modified on the model. I'm going to list the kit part number, the green strawberry kit that you're going to be using, the kit step number and part number that this is going to be applying to, and then I'm going to be showing you 3 pictures. One of the part before it is modified, one while it is taped off so you can see a reference of where it needs to be taped off, and then one after it has been cut. We will then, at the end of the episode, come back and I'm going to give you a list of part numbers that you need to remove before starting your green strawberry fruit pack. Now, I highly recommend that you exercise caution while doing this. These are very expensive parts, very expensive mods, and I do recommend some skill and some practice and some patience while assembling your mods. This is a very dangerous project, what I just did, so exercise caution and safety, and then of course, exercise patience. Do not rush this process. You want to make sure that you're taking care to build a very high-level model, which is if you are purchasing the fruit pack for the Razor Crest, you know that you're wanting to build a high-level model. So, let's go ahead and get started with our parts, and we will be back at the end to tell you what parts you need to remove from this model kit. Okay, so in this segment, we are going to go over each one of the parts that need to be modified, their part number in the AMT kit, their step in the AMT kit instructions, and the green strawberry step for the individual mod. Now, I recommend that you do pay attention to the part numbers. The part numbers don't exactly match up between the green strawberry kit instructions and the AMT instructions. So do make sure to pay attention to the descriptions here when modifying your kit. First up, we have the VTOL thrusters. Now, this is one of my favorite mods, and it was the one that actually brought me to building this whole kit. We are going to start with part number 17. This is going to be part of step number 4. This is going to be part of the left engine assembly. This is going to be part of the VTOL mod kit, green strawberry step number 2. Please note that when I modified these VTOL thrusters in the previous segment, I had gotten my measurements wrong. So use this measurement set versus what I had demonstrated. I am going to need to modify my model. Next up, part number 26. This is going to be part of step number 4 in the AMT kit, and this is going to be part of the VTOL thruster mod, Green Strawberry, step number 2. Please note that I did cut these wrong on the demonstration. Please use this as your cut line. Switching over to the cockpit mod. This mod is a very simple mod from a model modification standpoint, in that you're only going to be modifying this one piece for the entire mod, kit part 85 from step number 8. This is going to be part of the cockpit mod from Green Strawberry, step number 6. These parts are 59 and 70, used in AMT kit step 17, and Green Strawberry landing gear step number 5. I simply used straight edge nippers to cut this off and then quickly sanded down the end of my piece. Next up in the landing gear mod, these are going to be parts number 65 and 76, also from step number 17 in the AMT kit, and this is going to be Green Strawberry, step number 2. I simply used straight edge nippers to cut these and then sanded them down with my various sanding tools. Now, switching over to the cargo bay mod. I am splitting this mod into 2 sections. Everything that's auxiliary, and then cargo bay main, which we will cover at the end of this segment. First up, we have AMT kit part 2A. This is used in step number 11, and this is used in Green Strawberry's step number 9 and 10. I used a variety of tools, straight edge nippers, the cutoff wheel, and various sanding materials. Now, the important thing is to measure out 1 millimeter out from the edge of each one of your cutting surfaces, and then I used a razor saw to get my cut started and finished, then use all the remaining tools to help clean up and finish the process. So once again, 1 millimeter out from each one of the cut lines. Next up, AMT kit part number 56, also from step number 17. This is going to be used in green strawberry step number 9. This one was a bit of a difficult piece to cut, but once you figured out that all you're going to need to do is cut the outside connection piece and leave the internal where it looks like there are electronics there or machinery, you will see that you're just going to cut along the outside and cut off the edge and just leave the electronic pieces left on the outside. I simply used a pair of straight edge nippers for this process. Next up is AMT kit part 13. This is going to be used in AMT kit step number 20 and will be applied in step number 10 in the green strawberry cargo bay kit. I simply used a cutoff wheel and various sanding tools to complete this part. Next up is AMT kit part number 11, used also in step number 20 in the AMT kit, and this is going to be applied in green strawberry step number 10. This part was simply cut off using a cutoff wheel and various sanding tools. Okay, switching over to the flaps mod, and this is also the other mod that really got me interested in this whole green strawberry set. I think this one is one of the ones that definitely puts the model over the top. Alright, so for the flaps mod, I went ahead and just took a picture here of all of the different parts that you're going to wind up needing to modify. The thing that I found, and it was the second thing that got me into going, well, someone needs to explain which parts to use, in what order. It took a long time of both looking at the AMT kit and the instructions for me to decipher what exactly the parts were that you needed to cut. The thing that was frustrating about the green strawberry instructions is that the parts that they gave you do not line up with the actual part number in the AMT kit. So, as you see here, you have all 6 of the pieces that we need to modify for this next section. Then, in the next image, you can see our cut lines and where we taped off. I highly recommend that you follow this set of instructions for modding your engine pods. I have confirmed, and I did double check to make sure that I got all of these mods correct. And boy, was it nerve-wracking for the first couple minutes where I was like, oh no, did I actually get this right? But I did test fit everything and everything worked out really well. As you can see here, there's really no rhyme or reason that I could find for the way that they designed the cut patterns on this, and it was very difficult to decipher. So I suggest following this and using a cutoff wheel, single-bladed nippers, and various sanding tools to complete these cuts. All right, so for our final segment, we're going to be going back to the cargo bay. And this area I am designating as Cargo Bay Main. We are going to be covering 3 steps in this section, and the third one being the most important because this was the one that got me to create this whole video in the first place. So, first up is going to be the doorway. This one is a very easy mod to pull off. All you're going to need to do is simply use sanding tools. If you'd like to use a single-bladed nipper and then some sanding tools, you can. I just wound up using various sanding tools, and you are going to need to take down all of the mounting points that you would use if you were going to display this model in flight stance. Go ahead and take those down with various sanding tools, or however you see fit. Next up, we have the very front of the cargo bay main. So as you can see, we're going to need to do some slight modifications to the 3 posts that you see here and on the opposite side. You're going to take the first one from the left, and you are going to completely remove that mounting lug. Then, on this middle mounting piece, you're going to take off 3/4 of that, and you're going to leave that as a place for the cockpit floor to mount up later on. Then you are going to need to cut the circular lug mount hole here 3/4 of the way up while leaving the top portion of it. I do recommend being very careful in this area as the plastic is a little thin back behind that post. I used various grinding tools to take care of this one. Specifically the rotary grinding wheel. And finally, this is what brought me to creating this video. There is nowhere in the instructions that you need to cut out the raised portion of the floor in any of the instructions from Green Strawberry. I had to decipher it, figure it out, I started building the model, and I was just like, oh my goodness. I had already glued some pieces together, and so here we are. Now, it is very important that you get this part right, because if you screw this up, this is the body of the model, and there are not many options for you other than buying a whole new kit. Now, this is kit part number 1. This is going to be the very middle, and it's going to be the raised section that you see here. I'm going to show you where you're going to need to cut, and then how you do it is going to be up to you. I wound up using a cutoff wheel and then straight edge nippers and various other cutting tools, the razor saw. I used a few different tools to get in here and get these pieces cut out. Now, you want to leave a little ridge along the inside, as you can see, and that is created by simply cutting along the outside and following the lines here. We are going to cover this a little bit more in the next segment. Okay, now for the part that is not in the instructions anywhere in the Green Strawberry set, whether it's in the papers that come inside of the fruit pack or on the downloads on the Green Strawberry site, nowhere does it tell you to remove the bottom of the the main hull. It doesn't say anything about that whatsoever. I had to kind of like infer and figure it out. Like I said, I was going through the process of building the model, and I'm like, wait, there's a giant ridge right here, but it's all a flat surface down the bottom. That doesn't make any sense. What's going on? And so I had to like look, and then look, and then look, and then basically I had to figure out exactly where to cut. And so, very simply, you're going to cut through half of this lug post and half of this lug post, and you're going to go straight down into where the flare comes out down here at the bottom. Then you are going to follow along the raised edge and cut. There's going to be a dip down below, and you're going to cut along the edge here, and then you're going to do the same thing along the back. And when you do so, it's going to leave this perfect little ridge right here and right here. It is very important that you get this part out and you get your parts flush. Take your time. I used a combination of the rotary tool with the saw blade, straight edge nippers, double edge nippers. I've done some cutting. I've done a lot of modifying. I've done a lot of things. And let me tell you, this was a very difficult job to do here. So do take your time. And make sure that you know exactly what you're doing. So once again, you're going to want to go in along the inside. So you're going to have these lug posts right here. You're going to cut exactly halfway through each one of these lug posts. And then you're just going to trace along the outside of all the raised sections along there. And that's how it looks from the inside. So that is something that is not covered at all in any of the instruction sets, and it is very important, and it is probably the most important cut that you're going to do in the entire thing, and I find it very amusing that it was not in the instruction set, and is what prompted me to make this whole video. So, that is the last little segment I got for you, and we're going to go ahead and cut to a little scene here, and we're going to go ahead and cut to a little segment where I show you all the pieces that you need to remove from the model. All right, my friends, there you go. There's your modification set for the AMT 1/72 scale Razor Crest. This model, in conjunction with the fruit pack, gives you an authentic take on the Razor Crest from Star Wars The Mandalorian. And I gotta be honest, this pack is going to turn this model into something pretty special. If you guys aren't aware, this model is part of my series, and this is going to kind of fit in with all of my episodes in the series. But I am building the Razor Crest for Wonderfest Amazing Model Contest this year in 2024, and I definitely recommend you check out the series as we go along. I got very little time to build this very complex model now, and this was an important part for me to be able to share with you guys, because if you do have the fruit pack and you're lucky to get one of these, being able to figure out exactly how to modify your Razor Crest is definitely something that you're going to want to figure out. So, that's what I got for you today, and I just want to say thank you. I know that there was a million things y'all could have done today. Instead, you spent a couple minutes with me, watching me give you a tutorial on how to butcher a very expensive model. If you guys have any questions, comments, tips, tricks, please leave them down below. If you'd like to support the channel, please like and subscribe. And my friends, until we see each other again, I hope you all have a wonderful day in this beautiful world, wherever you happen to be. And just remember that this is the way.